will interview a horror story writer named Mr. Unknown. He'll be able to tell us a little bit about himself and share the stories that he's finished. We're at the location of the apartments called Owensville Manor, where the story writer Mr. Unknown spends most of his time, writing these very scary stories. Those who love horror and love the thrill of suspense and mystery will enjoy this interview, where there is a world of this writer that reaches the very threshold of the unknown. It is time to forget about what you comfortably know and take a risk into the vision of Mr. Unknown and see his works that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Let's begin the interview with things about yourself. Hi, Mr. Unknown. All those horror fans would like to know, why did you pick the name Mr. Unknown?
I picked the name Mr. Unknown because of the direction in life leading me always back to writing stories. And in a reader's sense of my writings is the fear of the unknown.
My next question is, what inspired you to write these stories?
I was inspired by my school classroom of reading and writing. In class I was reading stories with a script construction.
Very good. What age were you when you started writing stories?
I began writing at the tender age of 13 and 14 in my bedroom where there was a small wooden desk.
Wow. Did you have any help at 13 or 14 to write stories? If so, please explain.
Yes, I came to my sister who was getting good grades in school and added her understanding of the older adult situations from my childlike creative ideas.
When you used creativity to write, did you do acting from anything? If so, please explain.
Yes, I had a zeal during my young school years to play a character from Saved by the Bell.
Interesting. Is there anything else about acting during your young years that you would like to add?
Yes, when I wrote my first stories, I picked my story Detective or Spy to act. It was fun being the spy and having my friend at the time chase me and arrest me. These zeals shortly ended when I moved from Butler County, Westchester.
Did you continue to write after you moved out of Liberty? And then how old were you when you continued to write?
No, because of the moving process, I was now focused on a new area and facing life situations, so I thought no more about the gift.
I see. So, after your brainstorming story ideas at 18, did you put these ideas to paper?
In my late teen years, approximately at 18, I started to come right back into the story ideas, and I believe God was leading me back.
During these late teen years, did you have your sister help again with the story structure and with her education like when you were young?
Yes, in Reading, Ohio, in Reading, Ohio, I lived with my sister and my brother-in-law, and I shared one of my story ideas with my sister. But once again, writing was put off to the side for the time being.
I see. Okay, a lot of interviewers don't ask certain questions, but I'm going to because I want the horror fans to know you are on their levels and other levels that nobody else is on. So what kind of movies do you like?
Well, zombies and vampires.
A lot of horror, I see. What's your favorite zombie movies?
That would be The Return of the Living Dead, 1 and 2. I feel that I'm a peculiar person, so I don't like all zombie movies.
Okay. Is there any more movies that you like?
Well, yes, vampires, but I feel the same way as zombie movies. I don't like all vampire movies.
I see. My next question is, do you like to read?
Yes, but I prefer others to read to me.
I see. Well, let me clarify. It is because you like to vision the story better by someone else reading.
Yes, yes.
I see. I noticed you listen to 55 WKRCAM, coast to coast, and 91.7 FM, when radio was. Do you listen to these stations for the content and easy listening? For the content and easy listening?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. I'm sure the horror fans would like to know, have you ever wrote songs or poetry?
Yes, when I lived at Liberty Park, I was in a band called Black Poison, where I wrote up to 40 songs, and when I write today, there is poetry in my stories.
I see. Is there anything you would like to tell me about the songs and poetry?
Yes, I place my mind into the train of thought about the content, and I reach into my deep heart and stomach to develop the emotions that I describe to the reader or listener. Yes, I now form poetry into the story form for variety and to really give the emotions of myself.
Very good, because it is significant to reach into your essence to make the songs and poems, I understand. So my next question has to do with hobbies. Do you have any hobbies?
Yes, I enjoy hearing and watching stuff about ghosts and spirits.
Does this give you an idea for your stories?
Yes, it's all about the balance of good and evil and the standards to win against evil.
I love this. The horror fans want to know about your personality. Can you please explain?
Yes. Thank you for asking for them. I'm a deep thinker and want to give life from the heart in all things I do. I want the viewers to dig from the core of their being, the determination to hold on to that dream they have. I would suggest to brainstorm and put their feelings into an idea and thought, and that will make the idea come alive. Then vision yourself for all characters.
That's excellent. Now, if they have an idea towards songs or poems and stories, or an idea, what would you tell them?
I would like to tell them to keep all that you've wrote and keep the old ideas because they influence the new creation. The Egyptians did the same thing with the old belief system to see the new beliefs.
Interesting. Now, what are your feelings about life?
Life is not easy, and things don't happen in one night. So we must keep the vision of perseverance and a will of loving heart to all those that work so hard toward their dreams.
I agree. Do you have any hobbies besides the ambition to write poems and stories?
Yes, I have a desire to collect costumes, to give the feel of acting as a murderer, to put that thought on paper, or use masks to hide so you don't see my face, and I'm in the unknown to the unknown to the viewer.
I see. Do you have any art skills?
Yes, I formed the Dark Collage, which is a mishmash of myth, spooky culture, and women's sketches.
Interesting. And as his friend, I must say, I love his art.
But I can't show how I made the drawings, but I will tell you that I used what kind of looks like a graph sheet, like you would find in tech education class in school.
Interesting. Okay, let's talk about your life moments here. What is the most embarrassing moment you ever had?
Well, I was at the amusement park where I ate something and went on the electric rainbow. When the ride was over and I stepped off the ride, I threw up losing my meal.
Not the best moment, huh?
No.
Okay. What was the most happiest moment you have ever had, Mr. Unknown?
Everything that I care about makes me happy, and I wouldn't change that no matter what.
That's great. What is the most saddest moment you have ever had?
Well, thinking back, it would be losing my pet Ace due to old age, and my sister that passed away in 2005. So I do tribute to her because we were not just brother and sister, but best friends.
What moment frustrated you the most?
Well, I'm claustrophobic, so that really frustrates me.
Oh, it's sort of like when I joke with you and say, hey, why do I feel so confined?
Yeah.
I get it, because you don't like being in little areas at all. You like open space. Well, this next question is definitely something that you're going to be able to answer better than me, because you live here and I visit you. So if you can, I have heard that Owensville has its interesting story. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Owensville is historic for the veteran at the Village Hall here in Clermont County and the Confederates on Route 50. There was a ghost named Nellie that probably lived on the site before the Village Hall was built in 1859. That's just the start, though, because Clermont County, Ohio, has a bunch of haunted spots. So if you're interested, please go to Haunted Ohio in Clermont County on the internet.
Now, this wraps up our interview, and I must thank you for your time, Mr. Unknown. And in the future, everybody will know that Chris Matthews, aka Mr. Unknown, has a very unique way of appealing to all ages, audiences. It does not matter. He enjoys his gift, and soon you will too. Thank you for taking your time to see this interview. Good night.
Good night.